Afternoon. I'm Krishna and I'm going to be your Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. And I welcome you all to the 493rd meeting of Oracle Trailblazers. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year.
Yes.
During holidays, you probably received gifts and might have given gifts as well. Yeah. So today, let's share a special kind of gift with every one of our fellow Toastmasters. What do you think the most valuable gift you can share with someone here?
Money.
In Toastmasters context?
Learnings.
Yeah, learnings. And yeah, let me tell you, it's the gift of attention.
Attention. Wow.
Yes. So I would encourage every one of you to give the gift whenever a speaker is on the stage. Okay. With that, let's start with the 3 ground rules we follow during our meetings. First one, please turn off your mobile or keep it in silent mode. Let me do that as well, and I'll give you a couple of minutes for every one of you. And second thing, please do not discuss on topics like politics or religion. Third, please enter and exit the room only during an applause, not in between when someone is speaking. The mission of our Toastmasters Club is to provide supportive and positive environment wherein each members can learn and grow. Learn and grow there mainly in the communication as well as their leadership skills. So without further, who is going to be the team president? You will be. So I'll introduce you. Yeah. So with a huge round of applause, please welcome our ever smiling, energetic, and dynamic ex-president and AD and future DD of our club. Sure.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Krishna. Can we have a huge round of applause for our Sergeant Toastmaster Krishna? I welcome you all to the new term, new year of Trailblazers Toastmasters Club. A happy new year to all and a happy term to you all. So this new year brings us the new opportunity as well as the enjoyment and the grace for the new members. As this term, we will be having our new set of leaders who is going to lead our club from the front. And the installation ceremony we'll have in our next session. But in this session, we are going to have something interesting which we have started recently. That is sharing of our learnings. We call it as a bookworm club or a bookworm session where we will share what we have read in terms of books or what we have seen or whatever the experience you want to share with your fellow members, we can do it here. And to take it further, I can see no guest is here. So to take it further, I would like to call on stage our Toastmaster of the day who will be facilitating this whole meeting is none other than the pillar of the club, the distinguished Toastmaster Abhinav Bhatt.
Thank you so much. Am I audible properly?
Yes.
There's a plane in background, so if it's not audible, that means the AMC is working good. Okay. So my name is Devi. No, so Devi just called me a few minutes back and told me to become team mod. The last moment, but fortunately I had done it earlier. The book club meeting kind of sorts, we have done it earlier, so I can do it again. So before starting again, a very happy new year to everybody. I wish 2025 and future will be really good for all of you. Okay, so let's start. So last month we decided to have a second week as a book club meeting. Now, book club meeting doesn't mean only books can be discussed. We can also discuss anything, any movie you might have seen, any series you might have seen, watched, or any place you might have been to as well. Any experience you want to share. Although it's called bookworm, but it is not really just books. You can share anything you want to share. So last meeting we had 2 books being discussed. One was done by Abhipsha, one was by myself. We had one member, Alok, who told about his journey to, I think, IIT BHU for recruitment drive. And we had Anek, he just arrived now, as soon as I took his name. He just did a rap song last time. Not just It's not a rap song though. It was a George Carlin's piece he
Hello.
read. Yeah, Nick, hi. Yeah, I was just praising Anik. So we had 4 members last time who stood up and talked about books as well as their experiences. In this meeting also, we have 4 speakers who are going to share about their own journey about the books or whatever they want to share. So I just for the background and to make it easier for us, I have a PPT. I'll share that with you. Just let me know if it's visible.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so today is our 493rd meeting, but it is our second meeting of the Bookworms Club. Why we read books? Although everybody knows nowadays, reading books has become even tougher because there's so many distractions around. We have so many other things we can Netflix and chill, and we can do whatever we want. So I thought this month I'll read at least 1 book in a month, but I just finished watching Squid Game season 2. So I did not read any book till now. Not that I was not entertained, but yeah. But anyways, if you read books, everybody knows it's a workout for our brain because nowadays reading is very difficult to do, and we should read more for sure. It will help us focus better. It's always entertaining to read books if you read good books. That is one thing. And since we are in the business of improving our communication style, communication skills, vocabulary enhancement is a big deal. So reading books will surely help in that. One more advantage is that you feel more intelligent. In a discussion, if it's happening, if you put across a point that I read in a book somewhere, everybody around will feel okay. This guy has actually read, and he might or she might know more for sure. And some book might spark new ideas as well to do in your life to do something. If people say they don't have time to read books, it's okay. You can read so many other things as well. Of course, we can read books, but there are so many. I mean, you can read blogs or you can read articles, you can read magazines. There's so many other things to do. And if you can't do anything all that, there are audiobooks nowadays. You can just plug on your headphones, listen to any audiobooks. Most of the books, good books nowadays, are available in audio format as well. So there's no excuse. Okay. Again, there are so many varieties of books. So people talk about non-fiction, fiction, biographies are something people get interested in. And self-help books in India are the most selling, not just in India, I think everywhere. So you can always read self-help books as well. But today we have 4 speakers in our amidst. So I'll just start calling them one by one. I'll just stop sharing as well. So what I want you to do is tell about the book you are going to talk about. If you have the book in print or Kindle, whatever, you can share that also. Talk about some good things. Also try to talk about things which you didn't like. Okay. And finally, why others should also read the book. If you could just tell these 3 points, that'll be great. The first speaker now, shall I call upon Toastmaster Shalu? Yeah.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Abhinav. So today I'm going to talk about this book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff and It's All Small Stuff. One day I was just simply scrolling the Instagram reels and I found one clip where it was a set of Kaun Banega Crorepati KBC. Sonu Nigam was sitting and Amitabh Bachchan was sitting. So Sonu Nigam was recommending this book, like how this book helped him. And he told like how this book changed his life and how he see the people around him. So that's why I thought like when Sonu Nigam is recommending this book, let us try this book once, what is there. So I started this book when I started my vacation for this year-end vacation. Generally I start book when I start my flight. So from this Bangalore airport, I started this book and completed in the Bangalore airport and coming back yesterday. So this book tells us the thing which we already know. There is nothing that rocket science in this book. This shows that we all are human. Suppose for any small thing, we think many, but like we give too much attention to the things which we don't want to give. Suppose you see people whose feet and like whose palm are too so much like cold. Why it happens? because the blood flow doesn't happen properly in those interior areas. Why? Because they think a lot, they overthink, they take too much tension for the small thing, and you can check that person, the head is too much warm as compared to the feet and the palms. And that is the thing. When you keep yourself calm, the blood will flow properly in all the interior parts of the body. So this book tells us how we can not give comments to a small thing. Like there are few chapters which we all know very well, but I want to tell which I liked. Yeah. The one chapter is like, don't interrupt others or finish this sentence. Whenever we talk to someone, suppose your friend comes from Canada and he or she is talking about, Canada, this is happening. Rather than listening to that particular person, we start building our own thinking of Canada. Like we try to complete his or her sentence and we just wait. Okay, now it's my turn. I'll tell. Okay, in Canada, I know this is the particular thing you have to visit and all. We don't properly listen to the other person. This way, we feel like we are in battle. We have to put our points. What happened? We don't listen to the other person and we don't make a good communication between the person. And it's all a never-ending thing. This is the difference between listening and hearing. We are not listening, we are hearing. We are just waiting rapidly for our turn to just step in and get our things done. So this chapter tells us like how, if we do the effective listening, how we'll develop a good bonding between the other person. And it's very much important. Like in Toastmasters Club also, when we listen to the speaker on the stage, just try to listen to a person rather than doing the other things. This way you will understand what the speaker is trying to say. So this is a very nice chapter. This is nothing that new in this thing. You all know this, like you have to do this. You have to listen to the other person. Suppose the person is saying, Canada, I went to the 7-7 mall. Rather than just saying, yeah, I also went. You can just ask for more experience. Okay, what you have seen there? What is new there? This way it will build the relationships. The second chapter, which I like, is be aware of the snowball effect of your thinking. Just tell me, is it happened to you or not in the night when you are just trying to sleep and suddenly you get reminded that, oh, tomorrow is my meeting or something important you have to do tomorrow. This happened with you all?
Yes.
And what you do after that?
Overthink.
You overthink. You not only think of that meeting, you think, oh, you started rehearsing. Okay, I will go to the meeting. I'll do this first. I'll do this first. And when you think, oh, when I do this, maybe this particular error will come. Oh, in the front of client, if this error will come, then what I have to do? Oh, my friend is on leave. Who will solve this? Then it will create a snowball effect and your whole night will destroy. Rather than what you can do, when you go for a sleep, just put a pen or a diary with you. When you get reminder of the things, write down, okay, I have a meeting. That's fine. If you think, okay, this error will come, just write down. If you write down the things, you will structure your thought properly and you don't have to overthink. You have the things done, it's done. And it say, when you overthink, just keep journaling. When you write the things, you will be feeling sorted. And then you can enjoy your night. And then if you go to the meeting, you will behave well. The third chapter, which I like the most, is the next time you find yourself in an argument, rather than defend your position, see if you can set the other point of view first. For example, in an argument, what we generally do, we try to prove ourselves right every time. We don't listen to the other person. For example, someone from you're walking in cafeteria and someone came and say, I don't like the concept of Toastmaster. Rather than listening to the person, you say, why you don't like the concept of Toastmaster? Toastmaster like this. So this will end up in a heated conversation. Rather than asking, like being in a heated conversation, always make that person hero in the conversation. Always let the other person win. just ask, okay, what makes you hate the Toastmasters meeting? Rather than putting your point, just say, what makes you hate Toastmasters meeting? This way you will learn the new things like, okay, maybe there are some reasons to hate Toastmasters meeting. And this way, I'm not saying you don't put your point, but if you give other person chance to prove their point, then 90% of the chance is there that he or she will give you the point to say. Then say, oh, you have some other point, just tell me. So this way you will come to a good conclusion. And that's the main motive. And this way you will feel valued. And the second person will also feel good about you. You will not feel, oh, he's a bad person or something like that. The next time when you meet, you have a greater bond and you will communicate well. And this way you will create bonding. So there are 100 chapters like this. So there are 100 chapters. So all the chapters are like 1 or 2 pages. So that's what I said. You can just go through it. And now, as Abhinav said, like what I don't like about this book, there are some chapters which are similar. I thought that the writer just want to make the chapters 100 to 100 chapters. That's why he has just written 2, 3, 4, 5 like similar kind of chapters. So that if he can reduce to some 50, it will be more effective than making it to 100. So that's all from my side. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Abhinav.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shalu. Has anybody else read this book earlier? Don't Sweat the Small Stuff by Richard Carlson. Nobody has read? Okay, if you want to read, Shalu is your contact person. All right. So I've been reading one book from a long time, actually. I just want to share that. It's not finished yet. That is a very popular book called Sapiens. Many people have read about it. So this book was published in 2014, and I got this book in 2020. And I read few. It was really interesting. It's not like it's not interesting at all, but it is. I mean, I can go a little bit more detail on this review, but I'm not doing that right now because it's not finished yet. But it tells about our history as humans, Homo sapiens. It not only just tells about the actual history. The author, that's Yuval Noah Harari, who is a professor. I mean, in I think Israel, some university. So he also gives his own commentary. Some commentary is there which you might not like. It might be a little more. I mean, he might be giving some judgments just like that. So that makes it actually more interesting as well. So not just the history, the commentary as well is given. So I'm almost done half right now. So it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of examples of how money came into being, how religion came into being, and how people started agriculture, how agriculture actually made us into one place. The cities came up because of agriculture. So it's given in a much more detailed manner as well. And how the other races like us, the Homo sapiens, we are the Homo sapiens, but the Homo erectus, Neanderthals, how they either merged with us or how they lost themselves totally. How we overpowered them, like we now overpower all the animals. So this book is about that. One more book I read recently is a fiction book by Michael Crichton, the person who wrote Jurassic Park. So this book is called Timeline. So it's on Kindle. So I can't show it, but if you might have seen Jurassic Park, how many people have seen Jurassic Park movie? Everybody's seen, right? So in that scene, what happens? Some people get stuck on an island where there are a lot of dinosaurs. This book is similar to that. That people are transported back to time in France, where there is a civil war going on. So it's similar to Jurassic Park, but not dinosaurs. There are humans involved in that. Pretty interesting. So if somebody wants like a thriller kind of books, they can read that too. So I'll not take too much time about my books. I'll move to the second speaker today, and that is Toastmaster Krishna. Please welcome him on stage, please.
So yeah, before going into the book, I'll start with some questions. So imagine you're in the middle of night and power went off in your house. But when you look at your neighbors' houses, they have power. We have a problem to solve. Right? and you are getting late to work and you want to, and your two-wheeler does not start. You have a problem to solve. So in our day-to-day life, we do face and we do solve many problems without even realizing that we are solving problems. So today, I'm going to talk about a book. And this is like, even though this says think like a programmer, it's not just for programmers, but it highlights key problem solving techniques that we can apply to in general problem solving. Any problems we face in life, we can apply those key problem solving techniques. So I'm not going especially into all the chapters, but I want to highlight 8 key techniques that were mentioned in the book that will help us, whenever we face any problem, not just at work or at home, any problem we face, we can apply these techniques and solve the problems in an efficient way. So first technique that the author talks about is always have a plan. So whenever you solve any problem, you should not solve it without a plan, because plan helps in identifying your resources. What resources I have to solve this problem. Imagine you're going on a trip, but you don't have a plan, you don't have itinerary, you didn't book any tickets, you just went to that place. So it will be cumbersome, right? So that's the reason it's always important to have a plan for solving any problem. And the second thing the author talks about this is restate the problem. No, not normally what we do, like whenever we see a problem, we immediately try to jump to a solution. I want a solution, I want an immediate solution. But sometimes, you will not get an efficient solution if we go with that approach. So imagine you want to climb it onto top of a mountain. So what we'll do, we'll not just start climbing the mountain. Once we reach the mountain, we'll not just start climbing. We can circle around the mountain and see if there is any easy way to climb up to the mountain. So in that way, restating a problem helps us simplifying a problem which once might have seemed complex. Right? And the third thing he states is divide the problem. So problems, in almost every case, we can divide them into smaller sub-problems, smaller steps. Right? So when you divide the problem, the complexity of the whole problem is much more than half, is even much simpler than half. So imagine like someone has given you 100 files and you want to sort it in order, alphabetical order. So you can imagine how complex it is. But imagine if you divide the problem into 2 halves, like you have 50 files and 50 files, and now you want to sort them. So one advantage of dividing the problem is you can allocate a different person to solve the problem, because you have one big problem, only you have to solve it. But if you divide the problem, you can have other persons to help you solve the problem. So in that way, dividing a problem efficiently helps us solve the problem. And fourth one says, so once you have divided the problem, you have steps. So fourth one says, start with what you know. So even though we have divided the problem, we don't know how to solve all the pieces of the problem. So some pieces we still are unknown for us, but some pieces are still known to us. So we can start with what is known, and then we can proceed to handling the more complex parts of the problem. And that's the fourth one. And fifth one is about reducing the problem. Okay. So normally, imagine you are playing a Sudoku for the first time. You have a 9 by 9 squares. So what will happen? So sometimes we'll feel overwhelmed. Oh, there are so many numbers I need to fill. So in this case, how can we reduce the scope of the problem? So either we can take a Sudoku of smaller size, like 4 by 4 also is a version of Sudoku is also there, which can be solved easily. Or we can take a Sudoku which has more number already filled. So that way you have more constraints and you can solve the problem. But even though you have not solved the main problem yet, but you get some insights which you can apply to solve the other problem. And the next sixth one is look for analogies. So sometimes we already might have solved some problem which can be applied as an analogy to the problem at our hand. So imagine like you have never replaced the tire of a car, but you have to replace it. But you know how to replace tire of a two-wheeler. So even though the problem is similar, but it's in a different context. So once you look for analogies, okay, I know I've solved this similar problem here, and I can apply similar thing here. So that will help you, when you look for analogies, so you can take the same problem in a different context and apply it into another problem. The next technique the author talks about is experiment. So sometimes we don't know how a system works. Right? Imagine you have given a new toy to a child. He doesn't know how to play with it. So what he does? So he presses all the buttons and see what is happening. Right? He presses button one and see. So in that way, that's the way of an experimentation. So when you experiment with the systems, you will soon get to know how the system works. And then in some time, you will be able to know how to efficiently use the system. So that's why experimentation helps us understanding the system. And the last and the final technique the author talks about is don't get frustrated. Because the moment the moment we say we need a solution to the problem, we always think that the solution is the final goal. If we don't get to the solution, it's easy for us to get frustrated. So then the question comes, how not to get frustrated? Like, I'm trying to solve a problem and I don't have a solution, I need a solution. How can I prevent not to get frustrated in this scenario? So one thing we can do is take a break. You are sitting there solving a problem. You're not able to solve it. Take a break. Let it go from some time. Go out, take a walk, relax, and come back and solve the problem. So in that way, because by allowing ourselves to get frustrated, it never helps us. The problem will not be solved. It even can turn into anger, and it can even do further damage. So the moment when we see, okay, I'm getting frustrated, I'm not able to solve the problem. So just take a break, relax, and come back to it. So these are the 8 techniques that the author talks about that I felt that can be applied to any problems we face in our life. So I want to leave you with a takeaway. Problem solving is not just reaching the solution. It's all about getting started and making progress. Solution comes at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Krishna. I just shared the link of your book as well on our Zoom chat. If someone wants to buy the book. Anybody else has read the book earlier? No? Okay. So on this book, I have one point, as in think like a programmer, like think rationally. Don't just panic and just like how we make a program. Divide the program into steps, think properly, think rationally. So I used to think like that always. Because we're all engineers, mostly, right? We all think like that. But I had a counter example a few days back. And the example is like this. You might have heard of a train which runs from London to Paris underground. You might have heard, right? So since it is an underground train, people expect it to be running very fast. And it does run fast. I don't know the actual time, but it does run fast. And it's how big its achievement in engineering that they created a train which runs below the sea, English Channel. Below that, also a few hundred meters or so, they made it an underground tunnel, right? In spite of doing all that great work, which is actually engineering marvel, people are getting frustrated because it took too much time. People are getting frustrated. Why it is taking too much time? So they asked all the engineers again, how to reduce time? People are complaining a lot. So all the engineers obviously came up with their own examples. They said, okay, if we do a little bit tweak on this engine, it'll be like this. It will run 10 minutes faster. Or if we do something at the gates of the thing so that the tire quality will change, it will run faster and so on. So they give a budget as well. Like, it'll cost $3 billion or pounds to make it faster. So there was somebody else who suggested, if we don't do anything, just put good-looking stewards and stewardess the train. People will not get bored at all, and they'll enjoy the time. And it actually did work with them. So instead of putting so much effort and money in the engineers' thoughts, they just put good-looking people who the stewardess, all the hostesses there, and people didn't complain at all. So this is like thinking irrationally. So all the engineers think very rationally, but there might be some other ways to solve things. But again, this book obviously helps us to think better. Yeah.
So this I would like to add the point, the second point which we mentioned, restate the problem. So the problem is not improving the speed, it's about making the customers feel happy, pleasant. So when you restate the problem, you solve it in simpler.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. We have now our third speaker, and that is Shelly.
Hi everyone. Today I'm gonna review a book of a CEO life. Why I chose this book to read it first place? Because I really wanted to know a journey, and actually I'm a stalker. I really like to see how people went there, how she became what she became, how what difference she did. So the book is of this Indra Nuri, My Life in Full. So this book, what I can say that I learned the most is she don't give too much attention to the people what people says to her about his color, about his tomboyish look, all that. She don't give so much attention to it. And another thing that I learned, I will tell it later, but okay, I will tell you later only. So initially in this book, author is talking about her life in Madras. So in her life in Madras, she is obviously she was very brilliant student. She was doing her she was basically in a debate competition, taking part in debate competition also. She has a band also. So in different towns, in different schools, she go and perform in the events. So she does things like that. But she said in one of the meeting, not the meeting, she heard it somewhere that people are saying that she looks so dark and she's so tomboyish. Who will gonna marry her? So like those kind of things. But she didn't give that much importance. And his father was one of the, I think, the most marvelous person I can think of. So he said, "You are only going to take money from me, no other men." So if you imagine it in 1960s, some guy, like some man is saying like those kinds of words, it's like huge, because in that kind of era, people are just focusing on she should get married to some good guy, some nice guy. So those kind of stuff she has it. Then she went to college, and there everybody, all the guys were playing cricket, but no woman was playing cricket. So she initiated a thought, and eventually they started playing the cricket. Women, so the boys were only teaching them, and she was playing cricket and organized her first women cricket league. So that's where PepsiCo and Indian League got connected. So I will tell it later. So this is how she. So basically, all I'm saying is she didn't give too much thought what people think of her, and her father was also a very key member, key person to for that confidence. Then she went to IIT Madras, and then she went. So basically, you first time when the Whisper safety launches in the India, she was the product manager of Stay Free. So she was personally go and check how's the sanitary pad is, everything she was doing it, and most of things she did it because of the purpose, because she think this issue is going to solve a lot of women. This issue is going to change a lot of women's life. So there was a purpose, and in this whole book I can like guarantee you that you will find a purpose. She find it all the purpose whatever she has done work in, and even she was in like she find a purpose in it. So that's where the Stay Free ended. So that after that she went to US, and there she was gone to an interview where she was wearing a coat which is very weirdly fitted, very short leggings, and people were saying and laughing at her, and she cried a lot after the interview. But she talked with the consultant, not the consultant, that faculty, and they said, "You don't worry about what you are wearing, just wear sari because that's what you wear in India, and focus on what you're good at. Don't focus on your outfit, and people are going to hire you." And one of the biggest company hired her at that time, PCG, and there she made a lot of progress. She met her husband, she got married, And there was a time in her career she was feeling so stuck in the same place. But in one night, her husband just asked why you really wanted to shift. So what's the scenario I will give you? They have house. It's all settled. They have one daughter also. So her school is also very near to that home, and everything is well settled. That there was no point of thinking that you should shift the company and go to some another city. But her husband supported her in that phase, and she said, "You join that company and take a daughter. I will leave my job and go with you." So I'm not saying that this is should be done, but I'm just saying that these strong men are needed in the society. So he supported her in that craziest way. And then again she wanted to switch, and then this time she has two offers. One's from General Electric and one's from PepsiCo. And the PepsiCo CEO told her that I don't think General Electrics need you more than the PepsiCo needs you. So like those kind of lines, I can't even expect somebody is saying these words to some person. Like she was like us only, but this is what she has been. She worked so hard. So after that she joined PepsiCo. She introduced very healthy beverages and reduced the salt and everything. And she included everybody from all the caste. She made one statement here that it's nice to work with the people of same caste, same religion, same color, and everything same. But it's better if you include everybody because you will have get more perspective of the things. So that's how she included the inclusivity, we say. And one of the things I got to know from this book is India is the like in USA also they don't have maternity leaves, paid maternity leaves. So you if you think of it now, we see that US people are not very much up to the for having kids. They are not very much into that thing because they don't get maternity leave or the paternity leave. And India is one of the great country for this. And she also said it, that they have made many rules for the women here in India. So like that, she said many things about it, and her vision was that we should be more flexible and we should be more emotional about other people. For all the employees, we are not hiring a employee or a man or woman. We are hiring the whole family, so we should be considerate about it. So that's all about this book. And at the end, what I didn't like in this book is initially it has told about so many achievements. So when somebody talks about so many achievements, you feel like, oh shit, I am nothing. So I would have just dropped this book. But after that, when the end of the book came up, and it was some next level, and how much she could have think of. And one thing that I really liked it, she was saying that there was point that she missed her baby's first step, first words. But what I think, she may missed so many first steps of her baby, but she made so many first steps for other women, for other people, that you can go in this direction, you can do this. And I will recommend this book to all the women and the men who are supporting women or working with women, that it will help you in some ways to know their perspective. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shaili. So Indra Nooyi is a great example for everybody, not just for men, not just for women, even for men. That she came from India and became the CEO of a big company like Pepsi, and that actually paved the way for other CEOs also. There's so many Indian CEOs nowadays in IT, but she became a non-IT company CEO. It's a big deal, in fact. So I've seen her interviews as well, and she has, again, like you explained, did a lot of things which were not talked about earlier. All right. Anybody else has to say anything about the book or anything about the Nui or anything about leadership? If not, then we can move to the next speaker. I hope Toastmaster Mamta is there in the room.
I'm not ready.
Is she there?
No, I'm not ready. I cannot do
You're not-
today.
Okay. All right. Okay, then anybody else has any book or anything to share? Any series they have watched? Any movies they have watched? Anything?
I can try.
Yeah, Dakshani, please. You go ahead.
It will be entirely impromptu. But recently, I discovered that on Kindle, if you have a Prime subscription, you get a lot of books for free. And that, funnily enough, coincided with the fact that I decided to not be on social media. So I started reading a lot more. And yeah, that's the number one reason you can read this book. It's free. And I don't know if you've heard of the author Frederick Backman. I don't know if you have read the book called A Man Called O. It's okay. So Frederick Backman is known for his very absurd style. This is a niche within the books world that I have not seen in a really long time. So if you are into really absurd and weird storytelling, you should definitely read this book. This book is called The Answer Is No. And it's a very short story. That's the second reason why you can read this book. It's just 57 pages. You'll be done in one sitting before you know it. So this book is about a man, and this man is frustrated with the whole world because the world won't leave him alone. And I could relate to this somewhat. How many of us are used to always getting these messages? Like if you live in a society, for example, you get all these messages about building rules, about repairs, about, I don't know, marketplace stuff, something or the other. So many notifications, 10 notifications from Swiggy, and then, like, I don't know, asking you to order this, that, and like your phone won't leave you alone. And the people around you won't leave you alone. And in this book, there's a very absurd story about this man who figured out that all he needs in his life is to be alone in his flat, playing games, ordering his favorite Thai food, and just chilling. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He doesn't want to even interact with his neighbors or call his friends, or he hates even picking up phone calls. And he has built this seemingly perfect life for himself, and the whole thing falls apart and the whole thing changes in 1 second when the building company comes to him and says that there's an abandoned pot outside, somebody just threw it out, and they didn't follow the building regulations for trash disposal or whatever. And because of that, they're investigating who did that. I mean, the whole thing feels weird. Somebody threw something out. They could just pick it up, put it in the right trash can, and move on. But you know how building committees are in some places. They want to find the culprit. And the stupidest problem like this pulls him out of his peace, pulls him out of this, and it makes him involved in the absurdities of life. And suddenly he has to talk to the building committee, he has to talk to his neighbors, people who won't leave him alone. There's this very weird woman who keeps being part of all these Facebook groups, and she comes and tells him a whole bunch of conspiracy news, and like he just can't stop. He wants her to leave. He just wants to keep playing his video games. And I don't know, like throughout this whole thing, I was struck with what is the right thing to do. So my opinion of this was basically, I do relate to this man to some extent, because yes, we do want to be left alone once in a while. We don't want all these extra other people problems to come into our lives and suddenly have all this noise. But at the same time, if you don't interact with anyone, if you don't go and poke your nose in your neighbor's business once in a while, would you even feel like you're living your life? Like if you don't talk to anyone, if you don't interact with general society, that's a pretty boring way to live life. So this book basically brings up that conundrum between, like, how do you find the right balance for yourself? But the way it does that is in a very absurd story of this man. So yeah, I absolutely recommend that you read it. And there is nothing about this book that I didn't like except the fact that it was too short. I wish it was a little longer. The story was so fun that I wanted him to keep continuing to explore this man's life. It also has a very wholesome ending of sorts. So if you're ever in the mood for just taking 2-3 hours to sit, read, have a cup of coffee, and chill, you should definitely read it. Yeah. Thank you.
happened at the end?
You should read it, right? If I tell you what's the point, this is a review, not a spoiler alert. I can tell you the ending is wholesome. That's the best I can do.
I just got the book downloaded now.
It's free.
I don't think it's visible. It's free, so I can download it. I have Prime subscription. On Kindle, it's free. 70 pages only. Okay. The shortest book might probably.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So there's so many other weird books. The answer is no. That is not the answer, but the book name.
Probably. But if you don't want to buy it, you can just download.
All right. Okay. So we can end early today. We still have 10 minutes to go. Anybody else want to share anything? Any of the movies or series they have watched or the books they have read? Okay. So like I mentioned, I watched Squid Game recently. Anybody else has watched? Nobody has watched Squid Game. What a shame. Okay. So I'll tell about it so that hopefully you can watch. It's on Netflix. Yeah. Yeah, Ravindra, go ahead. Sorry?
No, you were saying something, right?
Okay, I'll finish and you can go ahead. Yeah, I recommend a show called Squid Game, the Korean show, not a K-drama, it's a K-thriller. So the premise is this. In Korea, people who are very poor or they have a huge debt, they are given a card or like invitation, come join a game. If they win the game, they'll get a lot of money. So people who are actually in desperate need of money, they come and join the game. But the games are very kiddish games. Like people who in Korea, maybe they used to play games when they were a child. Similar to us, like what we used to play Gilli Danda or Kabaddi or similar to games like Kho. Those games are there. Or whatever, like marbles used to play. So those games are there. But the catch is, if you lose, you will die. Okay, I'll not spoil more than that. So it's a really interesting game. The series. And it's really popular on Netflix. Not number one show on Netflix at the moment. It has 2 seasons at the moment. It will get one more season later on. So I recommend everybody to watch it. It has only 8 episodes in season 1 and 7 episodes in season 2. So if you have Netflix, watch it. It's really, really good. One of the more better shows which I've seen earlier. Okay, with that being said, yeah, Ravindra.
I just want to share a few rules, not the ground rules. Few rules to I was reading this. I don't read a lot of books. This 100 pages, 200 pages. I don't want to read. Maybe, yeah, it's a good habit to read. I'm making habit of reading books. But I have come across this speaking tree in the Times of India. So where they have mentioned 3 rules, that is ISG, invest, grow and connect. So what are those? So I just want to bring to your attention these 3 rules. I stands for invest. Invest your time in valuable relationships, meaningful relationships, instead of wasting your time in Instagram scrolls or social networking. Invest your time in meaningful relationships. For example, go out and speak to your neighbor, and say hello to your neighbor and communicate with him. So that is invest. And second rule is grow. Grow in your life with small steps and consistently. So for example, if you want to gain some knowledge on AI, so you can spend some time daily, sometime like 1 hour, and that will bring like daily 1 hour. Sometime if you spend in learning something new technology, and then you can slowly become perfect. So that is grow, and C is the connect with divinity. So that is like spend some time in spiritual growth, like pray and do some meditation. So this I have come across in newspaper. I have shared with Devi as well on one day while we are having tea. So I just want to bring to this. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravindra. It was really interesting, really good. So need not read books for sure. You can read the columns in newspaper. It is easily available. So I think we can conclude today's meeting. I'll just share my screen again. So like we discussed, every second week of the month, we'll discuss books, ideas, and while reading books, obviously you get ideas for speeches. You can excel at table topics, get ideas of meeting themes as well. So first month, and this is the first month, you can assume it's all random book right now. Next month onwards, probably we can all read same book and discuss if it allows that. If we can't read same book, at least next week, because we have insurance ceremony, all the officers will be given this book. I don't think you can see my photo now because it might be small. It's called Three Men in the Boat. All the new officers, associates as well, will be given this book as a gift. We can all read this book and share the book with others, and we can discuss on this book as well later on. These are my suggestions as good books you can read. The most essential book to read for Toastmasters is this one, The Art of Public Speaking, which was written in 1915, 1915, but it's still relevant. Okay, so you can read this book. Others are fiction or non-fiction. And one more thing you can read is Toastmaster magazine, which comes every month. You'll get a mail. You can download PDF or you can read online as well. It has great stories. It has great columns as well and tips for public speaking. And it will be there. Yeah. But that being said, hopefully today's session was useful for you. I think I really enjoyed and I got some information about books which I had never had heard about or read earlier. So again, something to always take back. And with that, I think we can all conclude and have a photograph at the end. Thank you everyone for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for our Toastmaster of the day? I think this is one of the shortest meeting of the year, or I think from the past. All right. With this, we conclude today's session. And as Abhinav said, next week we will have our installation ceremony. So please be there. It's going to be fun. All right. Can we assemble here for the group photograph? After that, we'll close. I think still people are coming from vacation. No guests today. After Pongal or something? Pongal?
No, we get Tuesday, so
What date is that?
14th
14.
15th holiday.
14th holiday. Going hometown?
No,
I'll take photo.
Yes.
I'm working on that.
Okay, keep smiling. Ben, thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.